Hello, here is a update for TSCAD version 2. We have the BNSF dispatcher desk 113 pulled up, and we've got several trains on the board, and we'll take a look at several things. First thing to note is that the train tags are now visible, and we will see up here in the setting at Sanborn. Actually, when we mouse over any track now, we will get some information about it: the lead unit, the train symbol, the direction, the crew, if known, feet and horsepower per ton. And something we can do here now as the dispatcher for this guy is we see from the symbol it's headed to Barstow, so it's going eastbound. So I right click, I got some options here in trains, and I can go ahead and change his direction to eastbound. That's going to change his tag to yellow, and it's going to show that his alignment is headed east. Something else we can also do here under our tags, we can actually change the label of the lead unit, or rather of the train. So if we want to see a symbol instead of his lead unit, we can see that. Or if, for example, we want to see how long he's actually been sitting in that block. Now, obviously, we just started the application, so he may have been sitting there a lot longer, probably has been in this case. However, once the application's been running and as trains move across the territory, you can actually see how long any given train has been sitting in a particular block. So you can see the various things that, the various pieces of information we can get to that, or we can just simply go back to default. And coming in a future update, you'll be able to change all the tags simultaneously on the display. So when we first pull up the display, since we don't know which direction these trains are going, we'll look at their symbol. He's set at West Colton, so he's westbound. So we'll set him west, and his label is going to change to green because green represents west, south and west, and yellow represents north and east. And we'll take a look at this guy, and he is also headed westbound, so we'll change him. Get a couple guys set up here. Note that these labels have kind of a gray background. That's an indicator that those trains are not crewed at the moment. They do not have a crew. Down here on inspection 3, this guy is also going to be headed westbound. So any of these guys are available for a recrew. Now we come down over here and we do see one more train. This one does not have that grayed background, and you notice that the lead unit is italicized. That's an indication in Run 8 that this is an AI train. It's not a human controlled train. So if the symbol, the lead unit, if the train tag is italicized, then that's an indicator that it is an AI train. And you can see in the train tag here when we do the mouse over that the engineer is AI. And this guy is headed east, so we'll go ahead and indicate that he's headed east. Okay, so we've got several signals that have also been set up right here. One thing that we'll notice, this signal here is green, but it has a white base, as opposed to up here at Valley Junction, it's green with a green base. That's an indicator of whether or not that particular signal is set up to fleet or not. If it has the green base, it is set up to fleet. If it has a white base, it's not set up to fleet. And in fact, real quick, let's jump down here to Daggett, and we see that the track is currently aligned to cross over from 2 to 1 and then over to UP Main 2 to head up toward Yermo. And we want to go ahead and realign those so that our trains can get through on BNSF here. So we'll go ahead and click on these two turnouts. As we click on each one, the turnouts start to throw. And we at the same time go ahead and set our signals. And we have to wait for the turnouts to lock up. And then we're going to have to wait for the signals to lock up after the turnouts are in place. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and put those particular signals in fleet. So on a signal, once it's set up, so it's not stop, it's not restricting, but once it's set up to proceed, you can right click it and you can set it to fleet. So we'll go ahead and set both those signals into fleet mode and we're ready to go. This train down here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to release him up here to the West D yard. However, I'm now going to note I do not actually want to cross him over there to main 3. I want to keep him going on main 4. And incidentally, you may have noticed that if you mouse over on any other track that's unoccupied, you will get the track name. that will appear. So we're going to go ahead and knock down this signal, and when we click on it, it's going to ask us if we want to knock down the signal, and we'll say yes. We're going to go ahead and knock it down, and that's actually going to change the track into a salmon color, and that's an indicator that that particular stretch of track and that signal are currently running time. So it's going to be 5 minutes here. If we attempt to throw this turnout, it's not going to allow us. If we attempt to line up this signal again, it's not going to allow us. If we try to use any of these signals anywhere along the route, it's not going to allow us because we've got this stretch of track that's currently running time. So I can't throw any of these turnouts or align anything through this stretch of track, and I'm going to have to wait for this thing to run its time, 5 minutes, and then I'll be able to align my eastbound through here and keep it going. And as we can see, it's starting to move now and make its way eastbound. And of course, again, at any point I can mouse over and get more information. Sometimes the symbol or the lead unit may hide behind signals. If that's ever the case, just do a mouse over and you can quickly see information about the train. Also, if there are multiple trains in a single block, you can do that same mouse over, and that tooltip will be multi-lined, so you can get the information about each of those particular trains. So our train is now making its way up here toward the West D yard, and of course it's going to encounter that red signal, and once we have waited for this time to run, we'll be able to align it. In a future update, some development that's still pending, you'll be able to stack a signal request. So if that was the case at this point, I could just stack a signal request from here over to main 4, and as soon as that time was complete, then the signal would go ahead and throw. One other thing I will go ahead and mention real quick here. You may notice over here at East D Yard there's this R, this red R that appears. That is an indicator that this particular switch at the East D Yard is reversed on the dispatcher's display from the way it is in the field. So in other words, this shows as being aligned to normal, and in fact that switch is actually set for the diverging route in the real world, but for ease of display on the dispatcher's board, it's showing as being normal. So any track that has an R, or rather any switch that has an R, you know that it is reversed. So that is the current update for TSCAD version 2. There's still plenty more to come, but in the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed the short video and look forward to giving the next update when it is ready. Take care.